This is the rhythm of the
Hello and welcome to another OnTrade Show podcast. The show that hopefully brings together inspirational people from across the hospitality industry, from brands and suppliers that allow us to hopefully move the industry forward. On today's show, we have the inspirational and fantastic supportive team that we've been working with for a period of time at Payfacto and Maitre D. And on the show, we have Executive Vice President. Now, apologies for that, Denis, but we have Denis Robert, the Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing, who's joining us all the way from Canada. And we also have Willie, who is the UK Head of Payfacto and Maitre D. And we also have the stunning Molly.
Start of the show. Well, maybe not yet.
Thank you for joining us, guys. That was
Welcome.
that's the most long-winded intro we've had so far.
That was long. That was really long.
All one breath. All one breath. So first of all, come to you, Denis. Pleasure to have you, and thank you for joining us first and foremost.
Always a pleasure, Justin, and it's been a while since we've done that in the UK, and I'm really pleased to join you today from Canada.
Thank you. I'll start first and foremost. This almost feels like a kind of World Cup interview with a time difference.
It does actually.
We've got you with your lovely headset on. We feel as if we should be reporting for Canada in the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. And I wish you guys were happier with the World Cup this year.
Oh.
Yeah, let's not.
Honestly,
not mention,
it hurts. It hurts.
It does. Well. Let's not mention Scotland and the challenges, but Canada have done very well. I'm sure you're very, very proud of the team across there.
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, we didn't expect that much, so we couldn't be disappointed. So we're very happy, actually.
Much the same as Scotland, I'm afraid. But
Set the bar low.
England are doing very well, so that's another thing for our English counterparts. But to touch base on Payfacto and Maitre D, Denis, for those that aren't aware of the solutions and the services that Payfacto and Maitre D supply, could you give us an overview of the organisation and a bit more about the organisation itself?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you know, Payfacto was founded in 2018, originated from a payment company that I own called CT Payment, and we were very involved in the payment industry in North America and the US as well as in the UK, and realized that there was a huge opportunity for us to do better and bring value into the hospitality sector. So in 2020, we decided to do the acquisition of Maitre D and Veloz, two very major brands in the hospitality sector. And the goal of the company was really to try to bring seamless integration to both of these two components, which are payment and POS management and restaurant management. So I started the venture in 2020 as the new owner of Maitre D, but very important to remember that Maitre D exists for the past 40 years. And we were actually making a joke last year, and we say, we did not come into the POS industry. We literally invented it. And when we started to do more technical stuff in terms of management of restaurants. So Maitre D has been there for so long. And we felt that brand was very strong, had a very good success, and we wanted to bring value to this brand by bringing all of the financial services and the payment compliant with that brand. So we've been at it since 2020. The company grew from 500 million in processing to close to 15 billion today. So great success. Obviously, the UK has always been a very important part of this business. We're very well entrenched in the UK, and we're working very closely with all of our customers. So our goal has always been the same: bring value to the restaurant community and the hospitality community. Try to bring together the component that makes success in terms of easing the management of the restaurant and in terms of both the hospitality management as well as the payment, and bring a supplier or partner, should I say, because Willie will talk about our philosophy, and we don't perceive we're a supplier, but we're really a partner with our customers, and making sure that we could ease all of these management issues that they face on a day-to-day, and bring value to the community. So that's really our goal. We've been doing very, very well, and we're going to talk later about new product that we're going to be bringing to the market. So we're very excited about our accomplishment, but moreover, what's coming for the market.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
exciting.
as one of the things that we spoke about when we did our last engagement, and something we were really keen to partner with you guys on at the beginning was around bringing a bit more transparency and straightforwardness to the industry. And I think we got a lot of feedback from across venues at the time around a number of uncertainties, let's say, that there exist due to the amount of suppliers that are out there offering card payment solutions, EPOS systems, some together, some separately, and it being a bit of a minefield for them, for want of a better word. Things looking cheap in a certain avenue, but in the long run, it working out more expensively. And where the challenges for venues came was having the time to interact and actually understand what was better for them. So sometimes it was a case of better the devil you know, if that makes sense, without understand. So one thing that we've had a lot of really strong feedback on in the time that we've worked with you guys is around the transparency and the customer journey and the relationship you have with the venues. That's when we go back to what you were saying a moment ago about not treating it as a supplier, more as a partner. That's certainly the feedback we've had for a lot of the venues that you engage with and that we've communicated with, and I think it's kind of key to how you guys operate. Is that right?
That is core to our values. To be very honest, transparency is core to our values. We believe that when you're in relationship with your partners and merchants, you need to deserve each other. You know, we're going to go to the moon for our customers. It's mutual respect, and we feel that there's been I want to be careful with the word here, but malpractice in the business where people are selling things that do not exist or overselling things that will not deliver on the promise. We believe that we have to be transparent. We believe that merchants need to understand what they pay for. And we also need to understand that there's no free lunch in life. So when you see people coming with magical pricing, I mean, there's always an edge to this. Either you're going to be increased in the coming 6 months and you don't realize it, or you're going to be stuck in a contract with clawback that will still bring value. But you know, every business to be sustainable needs to make a certain amount of profit. And if you want a sustainable partner, they have to be financially solid. At the end of the day, what's very important is for the merchant to understand what they pay for. We're always trying to get to the market with the best proposal possible. And we're very, very transparent about it. And we would rather not do business with a customer if we're not very transparent with them. And, you know, I always say, and it's me personally in my life, I see, you know, you know what you get, you see what you get. And we're very, very honest about it. And I think that's the only way you can do business and you can sustain relationship of long term with your customers. And when we look at the lifespan of a customers at Maitre D and Payfacto, I mean, we've had customers for 10 years, 15 years. When the industry attrition is about 10 to 12%, we have an attrition rate of customer below 2.5%. And I think that speaks by itself.
In touching on that, certainly I've been hugely impressed, not only just from the initial partner engagements and the solutions that you guys were providing, hence the reason why we were keen to partner with you, to provide that insight to the industry and try and bring that clarity to an area that was, like you said, with the waters were slightly muddied to a degree. I think that's really important from our perspective to make sure that the venues and the operators are getting a clear understanding, because for a long time in certain sectors, payments and financial solutions being one of them, it's either been a bit of a race to the bottom, or there has been an element of grey area where there's just again speaking plainly, we can give you free product, we'll give you card terminals, we'll give you this, we'll give you that, and the initial rate looks great, but when you actually delve into it deeper down the line, what you're actually paying long term is you're paying probably twice as much as you actually should be in the first place. So from a venue's perspective, there's maybe a degree of hesitancy or a degree of skepticism when somebody else is coming in with a solution and saying, look, this is what we can do. So I think it's sometimes the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Would that be fair?
Absolutely, and I think that there's great opportunity for education. I was telling Willie, I've started something here in Canada where I've started to meet influential group and do trainings. And whether you were a customer, let's say you're a member of an organization, and even if you were not a customer of Payfacto, I welcome everyone to come in. And we started to give training on payment and how does payment work and what are the real fees versus the, I will call them the invented fees, because we can be very creative in payment. And so that people truly understand, at least when they get a proposal, how to analyze that proposal, and when they get their statement at the end of the month, to understand what they're paying for. And this wonder, people realize that they said, well, I've never understood my invoice. I've never understood my bill. And now at least I'm capable of comparing a proposal and making sure that whatever I decide on that proposal, I will get the value I'm expecting for. So Willie and I are talking about these things. I think there's opportunities even in the UK and with your organizations and other organizations to conduct these kinds of seminar where we can bring value to our customers. And we welcome anyone actually who wants to participate in these in the hospitality industry. And I think that knowledge is key. And then people understand what they have as a product, what they have as a service, and what's the value for them at that particular service. So education is key from my perspective.
It's strange that you mention that, Denis. It's almost as if we've had that conversation already, because myself and Willie and Carmi, obviously the team in the UK, have been looking at setting up some round tables to have the brand chat about those very offerings. And I think one of the challenges from the industry perspective, and I'm sure you'll appreciate this, when you're talking about suppliers or partners or relationships, if you mention payments, or you mention insurance, or you mention licensing, they're not the sexiest terms in the industry, as I'm sure you can understand. But when you're talking about a new brand launch or a new product launch, but they're hugely, hugely important to people. But I think sometimes that conversation, Willie, and I'm sure it's something you can chat with Molly about how the customer journey and how that relationship is vitally important to talk about and look at.
Yeah, I mean, to echo what Denis has been saying, the evolvement of hospitality through the years has changed for a long time. And recently, over the last maybe 5-10 years, the evolvement of POS and pay, where the industry's moving very seriously and quite aggressively into it's a POS and pay environment. It's rather than being a separate environment where the POS was very much a partnership. You always work very closely with the teams and the restaurants and the bars, very closely with the POS, and that's where the partnership and the chat of consulting and training with them.
Yep.
When pay came on, it was one of my goals is, can we do pay like we do POS? Can we be a technology partner rather than just a technology solution? So quite often the technology solutions is both hand in hand, rather than pick from a list here or pick from a list here and hopefully they join together. We're all in sort of the industry now where POS and pay is kind of the solution that goes hand in hand. But rather than just being a POS and pay solution, we want to be a POS and pay partnership. And that's where the help, the training, the consulting with the people that may not know how to ask the right questions, may not know how to read a statement or read or where it is, where we hope to try and come across as being transparent, being fair, being honest. And the strategy is for a long-term relationship, not just a smash and grab type of, here's the solution, grab it, and then we go. It's a number. This is been doing this a few times, seeing the evolvement of hospitality over I'm not quite 40 years, I'm at 30 years. Where we are today is it's changing. We have a new product. It's really exciting. We'll talk about it in a minute. But seeing it all come and, where the other solutions are out there. But, we're trying to do our best to be a good partner.
That's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, from the brand point of view, and you from both different perspectives, from Canada with Denis and from the UK, do you find that this is a question I have probably for both of you? Do you find the customer journey or the engagement from the industries similar, or do you find them quite different approaches?
The industries, I'll be frank, have been a POS for 30 years now.
Yeah.
The pay industry, I found it quite cold and quite
Okay.
I'll use the word dark in a way, with how you win your customers, how you look after your customers, and how, in theory, I didn't even before, they're not account managed. They're not, in theory, looked after. They're signed and you're left to go and do what you want. And account managing payments is really important, and it allows, and it is the proof in the success in the UK of keeping it longer than 2 years, longer than 3 years. We're 5 years with the customers, 10, 15, 20 years
Long-term
with the customers.
relationship.
And that can only be done with account management, having a relationship and, being there, not just waiting and going to get the next deal and things like that. So that's where the joining has been quite, for me, challenging, because POS I've, in bed with, paid, trying to bring it in, and not become the colder part of what I call the colder part of the industry, and being a smash and grab and I'll see you later, you'll never see me again.
On to the next one.
Because I like going to see the customers.
Yeah.
I like visiting, I like doing account catch-ups and all these types of things. And so do the team. And it's part and parcel of, maybe you get a bit more trust and honesty.
No, definitely. And do you feel
Sorry, I think there's been a major shift in that industry, and it's probably driven by a more viable economic model. In North America, here you see more and more POS being owned by payment company, and there's a significant consolidation of the market. And the challenge, I think, rises from the cost of development. When you used to have only a POS company, you would do a software, and that software will live for 30 years. It would be on a perpetual license. Now, with the speed that technology evolves, there's significant investment that are put into technology. And the economic model of just selling a POS is very, very challenging. As you know, we moved to SaaS because we need to have more recurrent revenue to invest in this technology on a sustained basis, while payment has always been perceived as a commoditized, but payment also drive revenues. So what you see now in North America, and you're starting to see it in the UK as well, is that most of these software are owned by payment company for two reasons. Because when you combine the two business model, the economics starts to make sense, and you can deploy a lot of capital to continue to develop, which you cannot do if you're only selling a POS. It's very, very challenging to follow the trend in terms of technology. And the whole idea of trying to have one single supplier, seamless technology, more and more consolidation between the POS data and the payment data. We're all talking about AI. We're all talking about predictive modeling. So I can now aggregate all of these in one single platform to bring data that are meaningful to the restaurateurs so that they can take better decisions in their practice. So that's what we see. So huge consolidation. You see it in the UK as well. You've seen Square, you've seen other partners, you've seen Toast coming in, and every business now has embedded payment. So there's reason. I think there's a availability of data, which is better, but there's a cost economic model that does make more sense and allows us to continually invest, because we have generation of revenue that comes from both fields. Running either of alone is much more challenging in the current economic dynamic.
Sure. Sorry, Molly,
No, I was actually going to ask, in terms of your client retention that you're talking about, have you got a specific method or anything that is important to you in how you do keep your clients? Because as you're saying, like, you don't want to just constantly trying to find the next. And it's important, I suppose, for venues and owners to know if there is something particular that actually means a lot to both of you and how you actually do keep your clients.
The client retention is the easiest and hardest job, I suppose, in what we do in our industry, because it's so aggressive. Our competitors are super aggressive on the phone, turning up at the doors, emails, super aggressive, trying to undercut, and it's very. The undercut is it a true undercut, or are you going to get hit, as Denis mentioned? Are you going to get hit in 12 months' time or 6 months' time and things like that? So that's where the trust involves. It is. There is no point in someone comes in to undercut. I'll go and All I want is them to let me know I've got people at the door or things like that. Let me know, let me come in, let me have a chat, let me have a look, see what they're offering. There is 0 point in me just going to undercut them again, because then I'm going to have to ask,
It looks like you're
Denis,
grabbing
as in,
for it.
can we just make nothing
Yeah.
from this? Can we
Yeah.
make as a company go in zero because we get to keep them?
Like a
No,
race
there's
to the
there's
bottom.
no win there. There's
Yeah.
no value there from
Yeah.
anybody. But if we can be honest and transparent of, this is where we are. And, if you have my word that for 12 months, 18 months, we won't touch or we won't change or we'll do our best, that seems to be successful.
And I think that aside from pricing, it's the proximity with the customers. I always say, if you haven't lived in the restaurant industry, you do not understand what pressure is. Because when things go wrong, you want someone to answer the phone. And I think that's what we do. We are there for the customers. From a customer support perspective, we're always there. We're there when it's tough. We're there when it's great. But you want that relationship with a partner. You want a partner that understands what you need and that will provide you with the very specific feature set that your business really need. But moreover, you want someone that is there when you need them. And I think that's where we differentiate in comparison to other partners where, they will not have the level of service that we provide. So we're very, very proud of the level of service that we provide to our customers. And this is what counts for the merchant. At the end of the day, they might have saved a few bucks, but when your system go down, if it goes down and there's nobody over the line, that's where you see if you have a real partner, and that's night and days. And we focus on service. It's very, very important for us.
That was one of the kind of key points, and something that we've fed back from an industry perspective and quite a lot, and a lot of the people that have been on the shows have talked about as one of the big challenges in the industry is staffing, as I'm sure you guys are aware.
Yeah.
Which leads on to one of the main challenges that's in the industry, which I think you guys from the service and the support mechanism kind of help with more than others, and that's you have a lot of people now that are wearing multiple hats within venues. Whereas before you maybe had a general manager, you had an IT manager, you had a service manager, you had a sales manager, you had a team sometimes across even smaller venues or smaller operators. Whereas now, because of the staffing challenges, because of the issues that the industry has experienced, you've now got potentially one person wearing all of those hats at the one time. And sometimes, as I say, whether they speak about it publicly or vocally or not, sometimes those people can be scared to ask for help because it then would maybe highlight to their bosses or their company or to whoever that they maybe
That can't handle.
that was maybe
The overload that they've been given.
Yeah, exactly. So there's sometimes that hesitancy. So that support mechanism to genuinely be able to provide that insight or understanding becomes really, really key to not only the relationship with the company, but the relationship with that venue and individual.
A quick phone call to a call center is very different to a quick phone call to an engineer that's been doing it for 15 years.
Yeah.
And, like Denis said, we're not a small company, but maybe we're not the biggest in the world. So there's a difference with, people that are regularly calling up call centers and people reading from a screen and a script to someone that's been working and supporting and
actually knows
first-hand
knows what they're doing.
experience.
That's first-hand. And like you said, if you're wearing and under a lot of pressure, as hospitality is, picking up and getting, instant fixes that are done is vitally important. And then sort of going back to one you mentioned earlier of where technology, POS and Pay comes into the hospitality. It needs to be there. It's evolving. AI, everything is there. But we always want to take a back seat to make sure the hospitality service and the restaurants work seamlessly, gathering data, processing orders, processing payments, but everything going well, but sitting in the background so it's not overpowering the whole part of going out for a nice meal is speaking to somebody and things like that, and maybe not having a robot doing it all for you. Or a touch screen.
Shouldn't have mentioned robots,
And that's a key difference, because when you look at our people, most of the people that works for us have hospitality background. They've worked in a restaurant before. They've lived it. So when you call, they understand. It's not like having a level 1 customer support who has no clue what you're facing, who has no clue what really counts for you. Most of our people are people that comes from the restaurant industry, or at least have been there. I've been waiters, I've been managers, I've been so it makes a huge difference when you communicate with them. They understand what's important, they understand what you're going through, and they can find solutions and react based on their experience of having been in a restaurant. So that's crucial as a difference when you give support to your customers.
You were mentioning earlier on that we have a bit of an exclusive on the show, Denis, in relation to a new product launch that you're going to be bringing to the sector. Could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, we're very excited. We're actually bringing Maitre D Virtuo. Maitre D Virtuo is a full cloud based software, and unlike a lot of these cloud-based software these days that are legacy system that have been converted to cloud, we've built a new POS from scratch, from completely new technology, all newest technology, newest API, very open architecture, fully cloud, fully redundant. And what we've worked on this, aside from the cloud aspect of it, is really revisiting all of the interface. You know, you were talking previously about lack of staff challenges, and we understand that migrating a POS is always a challenge. It's always change management, and we've built an interface that is so convivial for people that works on it, that brings a lot of value. So we're going to be launching this in the coming few months in the UK. We're going to be looking at pilot projects. Actually, Willie is looking at these. We've launched it in Canada with great success. So we're very, very excited about that. So it comes with, you know, we're saying 40 years of experience in hospitality, a bunch of new coder that are all of the new AI driven and you know, new codes and APIs and everything. So what this will bring to market is a product that is, first, from an interface perspective, very, very easy to work with, very friendly. But really based on 40 years of experience. So we're not saying it's going to be a Maitre D or a Velas as is. We've tried to look at all of the experience that we had in these legacy systems, which are still very, very powerful, but more complex to code, and bring a product that will be able to evolve much faster. I mean, we've seen tremendous headways with AI as an example, where some of the features set in QA would take about 6 months to QA. Now with AI, we do it in 3 weeks. So we expect that the evolution of this product will be very much fast-paced than the previous product. It will obviously come in and embed payment. It will come in and embed all of the new feature set. And we are going to bring over time all of the AI backend that will provide predictive modeling. And, you know, if you have an inventory management system and you want to combine data, the core of the system will be built to do that. So obviously it's a product that will evolve. It will come to market with more limited specs. We want to test some of the things that we've been successful with in Canada and the UK. We want to make sure that it will meet customer expectations, but we're very, very excited about this new product.
It certainly sounds that, and as I know that you guys are investing heavily in what the offering is to the customer and how you support the industry and keep that moving forward. As I say, from a non-technical background, for what that means to...
How does that impact me walking into a restaurant?
Yeah.
How would that impact my experience?
It's almost, you will see less and get more, right? Even from a customer, you will see less equipment. You know,
Okay.
you'll just have maybe pocket card terminals with a POS on it, and you'll see probably less technology, but more power behind it.
And it's
of
almost
things
like
happening.
sometimes you go into a restaurant and the signal on the card reader is not working, and they're going away and they're coming back and they're stressed, and it's all that kind of thing. Is there anything that's going to help that?
It's always helping, and that's
Yeah.
where the 40 years, the 30, the experience of knowing what has already gone wrong in the last 30
and
years of
fixing
having
things.
POSs and having networks and having Wi-Fi and having internet and having a hybrid cloud system that will work without internet, because everyone's always the fear of the break of the internet.
Yeah.
So putting, you know, people's minds at rest. You know, it's so much is dependent on cloud and internet and technology, but also trying to have it sit doing a job where it's supposed to do a job, and allow, call it proper hospitality service.
Taking the stress off of things that should be working
And then,
Easily.
so a customer should see it seamlessly all the way through and get everything they want,
Uh-huh.
through to a server that's doing multiple jobs,
Uh-huh.
manager doing multiple jobs, to an owner who now has more data than they've ever
Yeah.
needed, more reports than they can do, more analysis, more checking on products that they're selling and, suppliers, and where it all sort of comes together. And then the integrations that, will come in to
Mm-hmm.
put a solution as an umbrella of your overall hospitality technology.
Mm-hmm.
It can sit there, but not, I suppose,
I
overtake
think
anything.
that's
Yeah.
I think that's the key to anything, and you are going to get within any business or in any partner, you're going to get different levels of what people need from
Mm-hmm.
whatever that relationship is. You're going to have, you're going to have the IT teams, you're going to have the owners and the analytic teams that really want to drill down into, what that means for them from a reporting and an analytical perspective, or what that means from the bottom line and their spreadsheet side of things. But the other thing that I've also witnessed from you guys and spoken to venues about that you work with, and what brought us on, was for the front line staff, whether that be the waiting staff, the kitchen staff, or whatever else, that have no interest in the technical
Mm-hmm.
solutions. That it means really nothing to their job, but how the support element and the functionality help them to do their jobs more straightforwardly or
Mm-hmm.
easier, or save them time.
It's,
And
it's, it's the most important part of customizing a POS system to work for the business. You don't get something off the shelf and try and build it, or buy a pre-made POS for a wine bar or a steak restaurant and things like that. They're all unique in their way, that you should have a POS system that helps you, sir.
Mhm.
Not slows you down, to hazardous, have stress. It should always help
I think
and
from
assist.
a
Mhm.
technology perspective, I don't know if you agree, Molly, as well, but from what I've looked at, there was a period of time for probably about 18 months or 2 years after the pandemic
Mm-hmm.
side of things, where just to order a drink or just to order a food felt as
Oh,
if
it
you were
was
going through a
just,
14-page essay and
I was
a,
exhausted.
a big rigmarole where
Uh-huh.
You must use QR code. I can't talk to
I
you.
need to,
Oh,
I need to
your
scan a
phone's
QR
died and you
code.
can't even use it, and you're like, can I just shout for it? Can I get a glass
know,
of Prosecco, please? And it
where-
was just,
Yeah, you can't go to the bar. There's somebody standing behind the bar. You need to do that. No, but you need to do this, and
Uh-huh.
I need a blood sample.
don't
and I
get
need,
too close to me.
Yeah, I need your parent.
I'm going to throw you your glass to you. Catch
I
it.
think that the challenge in building a POS is taking something that can be overly complex and simplifying it and making it intuitive for the user. And that's what we've tried to do with Virtuo as much as we could. One of the key benefits as well, it's a very, very flexible environment from a coding perspective and technology perspective. So it gives a lot of freedom for the merchants to select the type of product that he would like to plug into this. So we look at Virtuo as a core, as a marketplace, where you have all of the strong element of a POS, but you're not struggling with, well, I would like to have my own gift card. I would like to use such and such as inventory management system. I would use to. So a lot of these new software are fully embedded with all of their, reservation tool, inventory management. But at the end of the year, you're stuck with one core. You do not necessarily have exactly what you need. And what we decided on Virtuo is that it would be a very, very open architecture. It would have all of the fundamentals, but it would allow a merchant to very, very easily, through simplified APIs, connect all of their different partners within that environment. And it does two things. Provides more flexibility. And a lot of our merchants were saying, we do not want to feel handcuffed with one single solution, and we can't actually adapt this solution to our specific needs. So we work very hard in making a very, very strong core, but making it so flexible that you can integrate over time different components without having to have very, very complicated integration. And I think that is also key to Virtuo. It's this ease of adaptation to other partners, other vendors, other solutions within one marketplace core.
It's important, and it's been a pleasure to genuinely partner with you guys for the last couple of years. It has been a challenging period for the industry. It's been a challenging period for the venues, for the people across it, and the suppliers within it as well. But hopefully, there's light at the end of the tunnel coming very, very soon, and hopefully we're starting to see some chinks of light through things that are happening at government level in the UK and other aspects that are hopefully trying to change the landscape. So for all the support that you've given us over the last couple of years, and the support you've given the venues and the clients that you work with over the last couple of years, and the insight, we would like to thank you for that support, and we look forward to continuing that relationship with you.
It's very reciprocal. We really appreciate the partnership.
No, as I say, it's about making the industry better and moving it forward for the right reasons. as I
Everyone
say.
wants the same thing.
100%.
Everyone wants the nightlife back and everything back.
You know,
and better.
Exactly.
From our point of view, as I say, we're not POS or insurance or payment specialists. Hence the reason why it's important to get the insight from people that are and provide that insight through the title, which is, as I say, is proved hugely important and vital. So thank you for that. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for your World Cup predictions, Denis. I appreciate that. I think there's an opportunity for you to be on Sky there for that as well, so I like that. Thank you. But genuinely, thank you for both for joining us today, and
it's been a really great insight.
We
really
look forward
great.
to working with you moving forward. So that's another OnTrade Show podcast for today. Thank you to Willie and to Denis from Payfacto Maitre D for being involved. Thank you to my far more superior and interesting co-host as Molly. Until the next one, we'll see you soon.
Bye bye. Thank you very much.
This is the rhythm of the